Sometimes the scariest things don't happen in abandoned buildings or deep forests. They happen right outside someone's back door. Tonight, we're looking at 7 terrifying backyard encounters that were caught on camera. 1. The graveyard in the front yard. Britt runs a social media account where she usually shares peaceful videos about caring for her horses. But one night, her content changed completely. She lives on property that once belonged to her grandparents. At the front of the land is a small family graveyard where her ancestors requested to be buried. Over time, family pets were also laid to rest there, marked by small wooden crosses. One evening, while home alone, Britt noticed her dog acting strangely. The dog stood rigid, staring toward the shed near the house. Then it began growling, low and aggressive. Not playful, not curious, protective. There was nothing visible in the shed doorway. No shadow. No movement. The dog later repeated the same behavior while facing the graveyard. Soon after, another strange pattern began. Cows from a neighboring ranch started wandering onto her property. Britt doesn't own cows, yet they repeatedly gathered around the graveyard area, not grazing, not moving, just standing still and staring at the same spot her dog fixated on. Animals are often sensitive to subtle environmental changes. Sounds, vibrations, scents humans cannot detect. But the repeated stillness, the silence, the fixed attention in one specific area felt unnatural. Then came the most frightening moment. While receiving a food delivery one night, Britt went inside briefly to disable her home alarm, which had suddenly activated. As she walked through the house, she felt a hard tug on the sleeve of her shirt. Not a brush, not fabric catching on furniture. A pull. Startled, she dropped everything and ran outside. No one was inside. No doors were open. She was alone on the property that night, and was so shaken that she chose to sleep in a trailer outside rather than remain in the house. Since then, she continues documenting unusual behavior around the graveyard. Whether it's coincidence, environmental factors, or something unexplained, the activity hasn't been fully understood. 2. Something in the tree. The final clip in this collection may be the most physically intense. Late one night, a person stood in their backyard recording a towering tree. Loud cracking sounds echoed through the darkness. Thick branches, large, solid limbs were snapping and crashing to the ground. The person filming compared the sound to gorillas fighting in the tree. The force required to break branches of that size would be significant. These weren't thin twigs. They were heavy limbs thicker than a person's arm. In the footage, large sections of the tree fall rapidly, one after another. At one point, the recorder claims that when they approached the tree earlier, branches were thrown downward toward them. Speculation quickly filled the comment sections. Some viewers suggested a bear could be responsible. Black bears are capable climbers and can break branches while foraging. However, the sheer amount of damage visible in a short time raised questions. Others theorized strong winds, yet the surrounding trees did not appear to be swaying violently. No visible storm conditions were present in the clip. More extreme theories pointed toward unidentified creatures or folklore beings, but there is no concrete evidence supporting those claims. From a practical standpoint, several possibilities exist. Large animals such as bears can climb and cause significant destruction if agitated. Rotting internal wood can cause branches to snap under shifting weight. Structural weakness combined with an animal's movement might explain the rapid collapse. Still, what makes the video unsettling is the timing and aggression of the sounds. The cracking happens in quick succession, echoing through the night with unusual intensity. Whatever was in that tree had enough strength to tear it apart piece by piece. 3. The dead tree and the fence line warning. In the fall of 2020, a woman named Lauren began noticing something unusual on her property. Her backyard was surrounded by trees, but one stood out immediately. It looked completely dead, dry and lifeless yet strangely beautiful. Bright red leaves from a nearby plant framed it in a way that made it look almost staged. When she walked closer, she noticed something even stranger. There were small holes drilled into the trunk and odd objects lodged inside the bark. It didn't look natural. It didn't look like damage from insects either. It looked intentional. At the time, Lauren brushed it off as weird but harmless. For nearly a year, nothing major happened. The tree just stood there, silent and unsettling. Then, in 2021, things escalated. While walking along the fence line of her property, she discovered something deeply disturbing. Almost every fence post had something placed on top of it. Bones, animal skull fragments, broken doll parts, twisted objects she couldn't even identify. It wasn't random litter. The items were deliberately arranged, spaced out evenly as if someone had walked the entire perimeter of her land and marked it. There were no footprints she could see. No signs of forced entry. Whoever did it knew the layout of her yard. After that discovery, nighttime became tense. Lauren started hearing faint noises outside her house, soft movement in the grass, light tapping sounds. But whenever she stepped outside to check, the yard was empty. The most chilling moment happened while she was on the phone with her boyfriend. As she stood near the front entrance, the door suddenly slammed shut behind her with force. Not only did it close, it locked. She was now locked out of her own home. Inside, her dog Luna began barking frantically, pacing near the window. Lauren called out, but there was no response from inside. No movement, no explanation. It felt as if someone had shut the door from within. For 2 months after that, everything went quiet again. Then one night, she heard knocking at her window. Clear, deliberate knocking. She looked outside. Nothing. She checked the yard. Still nothing. To this day, no one has claimed responsibility for the objects on the fence. No one was ever caught on camera. Whether it was harassment, a warning, or something darker, Lauren never found out. The dead tree still stands. 4. The shed that opened itself. A woman in Texas had been noticing her dog repeatedly staring toward a small backyard shed. The shed had a keypad lock and was rarely used. According to her, no one accessed it regularly. Still, her dog fixated on it daily. One afternoon, while she was outside playing with her dog, the shed door suddenly swung open on its own. There was no visible wind. The latch had been secure, and the keypad lock system wasn't easy to open. Shocked but trying to remain calm, she slowly approached while recording. The inside of the shed looked empty at first glance. Her dog, however, reacted intensely. It stared behind the door at a specific spot. Its body language shifted from playful to alert, tail stiff, head lowered slightly, eyes locked on something invisible to the camera. There were no shadows, no visible person, no animal running out. The door had opened, and something had captured the dog's full attention. But to this day, no explanation has been confirmed. 5. The neighbor who wouldn't stop watching. In 2017, a man named Jeff Richards began uploading security footage from outside his home. The first video didn't seem extreme. It showed his neighbor walking around late at night between 2 and 4 a.m. The man stayed on his side of the fence and didn't directly approach the house. At first glance, it looked harmless. But as the months passed, Jeff kept documenting the same pattern. The neighbor would appear at night, slowly walking near the fence line. Sometimes he would just stand there. Sometimes he would peer over into Jeff's yard as if studying something. Then things grew more unsettling. In multiple clips, the neighbor was seen carrying a rifle. According to local explanation, it was supposedly for hunting birds. But the way he lingered near the property made viewers uneasy. Eventually, the man began interacting directly with Jeff's security camera. He would stare straight into the lens for long stretches of time without blinking. Then, he started shining a flashlight directly into it, deliberately trying to blind the footage. In later videos, he even made obscene gestures toward the camera. In the comment section of one upload, Jeff revealed something more disturbing. He claimed this behavior wasn't new. According to him, the neighbor had acted strangely for over 30 years. When Jeff's children were younger, he allegedly caught the man taking photos of them near the side of the house. Police were notified at the time, but no charges were filed due to lack of concrete evidence of a crime. Over time, Jeff installed a tall privacy fence to block the view into his yard. The visits became less frequent, but never completely stopped. Even years later, the neighbor still occasionally appeared at night, shining his flashlight around. Whether it was obsession, mental illness, or something more calculated, the situation never truly resolved. The cameras are still recording. 6. The Man in the Black Hoodie. In August of 2016, a video was uploaded showing something simple but deeply unsettling. A man in a black hoodie stood outside an apartment building near a set of stairs. He wasn't pacing. He wasn't using his phone. He wasn't knocking on a door. He was just standing there, completely still, staring straight through a window. According to the person filming, this wasn't the first time. For 4 consecutive nights, the same figure had appeared outside the building around 3 a.m. Each time, he stood in roughly the same position, facing the apartment windows without moving. The footage shows him frozen in place. No visible attempt to hide, no attempt to approach, just watching. After about a minute of recording, the resident decided to confront him. The camera shakes as the person rushes down the stairs and exits the building. But by the time they reach the spot where the man had been standing, he is gone. There are limited places someone could disappear that quickly. A nearby bush, a dark corner, a parked car, but none are clearly shown in the footage. The most unsettling part is the stillness. Most trespassers move. Most prowlers avoid direct lines of sight. This man stood exposed, almost as if he wanted to be seen. No follow-up footage confirmed his identity. No arrest report was made public. Whether he was targeting a specific apartment or randomly observing remains unknown. What is clear is that someone was comfortable standing outside a stranger's home in the middle of the night, watching silently. 7. The Masked Man in the Yard. One photo taken through a rural home's window sparked widespread fear online. At first glance, it appears to show a man standing in the yard wearing a blue jacket. But the longer you look, the more alarming it becomes. His face is completely covered by a mask. He is bundled in heavy clothing despite not appearing to be in severe winter conditions. Most disturbing of all, he is holding what appears to be a knife or sharp object in his hand. He isn't running. He isn't breaking in. He is simply standing there, facing the house. The homeowner reportedly took the photo after noticing movement outside. Instead of opening the door or shouting, she chose to document what she saw. Immediately after taking the image, she contacted authorities. The photo was later shared publicly with a warning asking neighbors to remain alert. In the image, the man's posture appears calm and deliberate. He stands upright, shoulders squared, as if aware he is being observed. Incidents like this are especially disturbing because they blur the line between paranoia and real threat. Rural homes often sit far from neighbors, with limited street lighting and slower emergency response times. Anyone standing in a yard at night with a concealed face and a weapon presents a serious risk. There were no public updates confirming an arrest connected to the image. It remains a chilling reminder of how vulnerable a home can feel when someone unknown steps into private space without warning. Backyards are supposed to feel safe. They're extensions of our homes, places where pets play, where families gather, where nothing unexpected should happen. But as these 7 encounters show, sometimes the most disturbing events happen just beyond the back door. Whether the cause is human behavior, wildlife, psychological misinterpretation, or something that simply hasn't been explained yet, one thing is certain: cameras don't capture fear, they capture moments. And sometimes, those moments leave more questions than answers. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next story. Stay aware, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one.